So there's two main theories about why the Viking Age starts. The first, Will Durant puts it, I think, the best. He says the fertility of the Viking women outstripped the fertility of the Viking land. It's basically overpopulation. And then they're searching for food. And then the second is there's this technological breakthrough with the keel, and maybe pressure put on Charlemagne's consolidation, and a little worries like that. I don't see why both can't be true, but I do also think Europe, like Charlemagne, puts together this vast empire that, fairly approximates the Western Roman Empire. If you squint, it looks like the Western Roman Empire. He's calling himself the new Roman emperor. This will eventually mutate into the Holy Roman Empire. But it's very much this idea that it's back. The Roman Empire is back. He's crowned on Christmas Day in the year 800, and the empire is back. Unfortunately, it was sprawling. It hadn't been thought through. The communication was terrible. You just couldn't do it. And so it was wealthy and weak. And that kind of attracts predators. By the time the Vikings crash into it, you also have the added bonus for them of really feckless rulers.
And we should say, going to Perplexity here, that Charlemagne, also known as Charles the Great, is the Frankish king who became emperor in 800 and ruled much of the Western and Central Europe in the late 8th and early 9th centuries. And there's a theory that the Viking Age was also a reaction to the South expanding north, as you're talking about. You tell the story of Charlemagne weeping because he foresaw the evil his descendants would suffer. Did the Franks accidentally wake the sleeping giant by crushing the Saxons and removing the buffer zone between them and the Vikings?
I'm sure that had something to do with it. But yeah, as power was consolidated throughout specifically Central Europe, it did put a little pressure on the areas of Denmark, and those are the areas that first kind of erupt down toward Norway and Denmark contribute most of the early Vikings that hit the Franks, and the Frankish Empire is the most wealthy state in Europe. It's poured money into religious houses for the reasons you outlined, and all sitting there easy pickings for people who've just developed the keel.
And so the word of the raids sent terrorists through England and through Europe. How much of the raids were reconnaissance, and how much was it just raids, and how much was it preparing for greater scale?
That's a really good question. I think a lot of the early raids are probing raids. Let's see what's there. Definitely when Ragnar Lothbrok, for example, sacks Paris in 845, that definitely results in waves of Viking attacks throughout the 860s, trying to copy that. And he actually is the template, which everyone wants to follow. And so that provokes large-scale invasions. And they hit England. They kind of switch off. When France is pretty much exhausted, they switch over to England. Then when England is pretty much conquered, they switch back to France. So I think a lot of these are just probing raids at first, but they're proof of concept, and then they come in force. For example, there was one king in England. His name was Ethelred the Unready, which is a pretty funny pun on his name. But he paid in 1 year 7.5 million silver pennies to the Vikings to get them to go away, which is a bit like someone's mugging you, so you pay them more money so they'll go away.
That's not going to work.
It's not going to work, but it will bring more muggers. So he paid the equivalent of 50 adult elephants, 48,000 pounds of silver to get the muggers to go away. And it's unsurprising that throughout the course of his reign, he paid something like 20 tons of gold and silver, which he had to tax his people for.
The Vikings are not the kind of people that would make go away, right?
Nope.
Yeah, they would just come back in force.
Yeah, they trust silver to do the work of swords.